Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be taking a look at Winter Storm Gail. That is going to be a major snowfall event for parts of the Northeast, and we could have blizzard-like conditions for parts of New York City, down all the way down to Philadelphia, and maybe even into Washington, D.C., depending on the track. But before we start that, I just want to take a quick announcement here for the channel. Thank you all so much for 300 subscribers here. On Thanksgiving, we started out with 75 subscribers, and almost 10-20 days later, we're almost at 310 subscribers. Thank you all so much, and this means a lot to me. Truly, it does. But for you, let's get right into the snowfall forecast because you all deserve it here. On the 12Z GFS here, you can see that you have Winter Storm Flynn getting out of here. It is actually starting to snow at 3 o'clock right now in New York City. It's starting to mix in with the snow. As this moves out, the cold air is going to drop down from Canada and freeze everything overnight that stays wet. If we continue here, you can see Winter Storm Gail starts to form right off the Carolinas. Right there. You have the cold high to the north here in a perfect position for cold air to drain into the northeast. You have this V shape in here because you have the cold air sticking in the mountains and is not budging here. If we take a look at the next slide here, you can see that the GFS is going to track to the north, wrapping just off the coast of Delaware. The rain and snow line is just south of Long Island, leaving Long Island all snow here in the GFS. Right down through Washington, D.C. Sadly, parts of Washington, D.C. will go to rain for a time and then change over to snow, and then all the way down to Virginia. But instead of tracking straight up north, you have a blocking high up here that will prevent it, so it goes out northeast because it has nowhere else to go. So if you take that in mind, the GFS goes north and then goes northeast because the block prevents it from coming any more north. The GFS is one of the earlier, makes the turn earlier than any other models here, as you can see in a moment. The rain and snow line is again south of Long Island, keeping Long Island all snow, and the rain and snow line starts to drop south. The reason for this is that the cold air starts to intrude from the north as the low pressure, starts to go out to the east. The low pressure goes counterclockwise, so whatever it's coming from the north is going to pull down, and whatever is coming from the north here in this situation is going to be cold air. So that automatically pulls down more cold air as this system goes. By 1 p.m. Thursday, this should be all done for Long Island, except for the Forks, and then back up to Massachusetts and Plymouth. It's still going to be snowing, at least shown by the GFS on 1 p.m., but then by 7, it is pretty much all done. If we get a close-up here with the snowfall totals, just give me 1 second to erase everything. The snowfall totals for the GFS here will get a little bit closer in the northeast. You can see that the 12-inch line, anywhere in this green, is from New Jersey, back from central and southeastern Pennsylvania, back in the mountains of West Virginia, northern parts of Virginia, back through Maryland, back by Philadelphia, central New Jersey, and out by Long Island, except the Forks, it seems like. At least on the GFS, it has a sharp cutoff here with the snow because due to the dry air, it will suffocate the precip and not get it far north, at least on the GFS. Look at this gradient here. On the coast of Connecticut is only 5-6 inches, but if you just cross the water here and get onto Long Island, you're up to 13-14 inches over here. The 6-inch line is anywhere from the pink, and the greater color you are, the brighter, the more heavier snow totals you got. If we take a look at the Canadian model here, at least on the CMC, and we go back to the precipitation map, you can see that, sorry for the little delay, having little Wi-Fi problems due to Winter Storm Flynn impacting me right now. You can see that the storm is right off Delaware, again, similar to the GFS. A little farther west, but nothing too serious of a change. Again, the rain and snow line is just south of Long Island, and then on the next slide here, you have maybe a little mixing on the South Shore and the Forks, but nothing crazy. Again, just like the GFS, Long Island is all mostly snow from Nassau County, from central Suffolk. At least if you're not on the coast, like if you have a good 10 miles, 5 miles off the coast, you should stay all snow with this system here. Some sleet may mix in, but we shall see, depending on the track here. Next slide, the Canadian, again, moves more northeast because you have the blocking high that prevents the storm from going due north. If we take a look at the snowfall totals here, shown by the Canadian, you could see that it has a similar look to the GFS, but again, the 12-inch line, actually all the snow totals get more north. Instead of a sharp gradient in the cold air shutting off the precip from Boston and north, you have the precip making all the way up to Albany this time and giving them a couple inches as well. Boston could see a foot here, New York City exceeds a foot, and PA could exceed a foot, at least shown by the Canadian here. If we take a look to the European here, the latest run actually just came out, and I haven't looked at it yet, so we'll take a look together. So if we get a close-up here in the northeast, you can see that Winter Storm Flint starts to exit, and on the southern part of your screen you can see Winter Storm Gail start to enter your screen here. Winter Storm Gail on the European eventually gets off the coast of Delaware and moves northeast because, again, due to the high, it can't move north. At least on the new run of the European, it seems to have the rain and snow line more south, which means it's a colder look for the European on this run. It has heavy snow bands from central Pennsylvania up to New Jersey, Connecticut, and even onto parts of Long Island here. The next slide here, the storm starts to move northeast and starts to get out of here. Again, you have the sharp gradient from, let's say, Boston up to just south and central Maine. Boston could see a foot from the system, and Maine could see maybe an inch or two due to the sharp cutoff. If we take a look at the total snowfall amounts from the European here, you can see that the European produces a big swath of 12 inches again. This is going to be a massive snowstorm and could have blizzard conditions all the way from Long Island, New Jersey, and even back into Maryland and Pennsylvania here, and even in parts of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts here. But the 12-inch line here on the European stretches from West Virginia, Pennsylvania, through Maryland, northern parts of Delaware, New Jersey, Long Island, getting close to Nantucket but just to the northwest of you, all the way back to Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. You have 17 inches on Long Island, 14, maybe in pockets of 15 here in Connecticut, and then the sweet spot seems to be back in central Pennsylvania, northern Virginia, and northwestern Maryland, at least shown by the European. If we take a look at the National Weather Service's snow totals, you can see that anywhere in the white is 10 inches plus, so that stretches from Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, through Long Island, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York. This storm isn't completely done by 7 a.m. It might be still snowing on eastern parts of Long Island and central. That's why the snow total's a little low out there, and same for Boston. But you still have 10 inches on the ground in Nassau County. Some, I guess you could say 8 to 6 inches in Suffolk, 12 inches in New York, and just to the northwest of that, you have a foot plus in this pink area. I would not be surprised after looking at the latest models that move somewhat south and east towards Long Island. Now, the moment that you've been waiting for, my snowfall forecast that will be shown right here. Anywhere in this light blue is 1 to 3 inches that stretches a big swath of area. Anywhere in this little darker blue but still light is 3 to 5 inches that stretches from West Virginia, through Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, up all the way to southern parts of New Hampshire, and just through Albany. This purple area is 5 to 8 inches, which it's a little hard to see up here, but the forks out east are 5 to 8 inches due to probability of mixing is pretty high due to the storm. Anywhere in this pinkish color is 8 to 12 inches. New York City is in that. Just to the south and west is just by Worcester, I would say, is in that. And parts of Trenton, look at this. Parts of Pennsylvania, Maryland, maybe into parts of extreme northeastern West Virginia, New Jersey, and parts of Connecticut, so you could see a foot plus from this system. Now, depending on the track here, if this moves a little more south, this 12-inch will have to move all over Long Island, Connecticut, and parts of central New Jersey instead of northern. But if it moves north, this whole area will move more north. I hope everybody had a great day, and please don't forget and subscribe the video and like the video for more. Have a great day.